The island of Sodor is surrounded by a beautiful blue sea. It has fields with green and sandy yellow beaches. There are rivers, streams, and lots of trees where the birds sing. There are windmills and a coal mine, and docks of visitors for the island arrive. The island also has lots and lots of railway lines. Who's that puffing down the track? It's Thomas. Hello, Thomas. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the island of Sodor. What's wrong with Thomas? It was the end of a busy day. All the engines were returning home from a good day's work. They were pleased and proud. Except Thomas. He was actually feeling very ill. "What's the matter with you, Thomas?" asked Oliver. "I've got steam not coming out properly," said Thomas, "and I can hear some very strange chirping noises in my funnel." Oliver felt very sorry for Thomas, but he couldn't understand what was wrong with Thomas. The next morning the Fat Controller sent all his engines for a good day's work. All the engines were excited, except Thomas, who was puffing slowly and miserably. The Fat Controller said that Thomas had to take a very heavy goods train to Brendam Docks. Spencer was there too, doing the same job. "You were very late this morning, Thomas," teased Spencer. "Why are you so slow?" "It's not my fault," said Thomas. "I'm not feeling very well." Dennis was there too, looking very worried. He hoped that Thomas was going to be all right on his journey. Soon Thomas and Spencer were ready to go. Spencer raced away, but Thomas lagged slowly behind. Thomas puffed slowly and miserably along. When Oliver saw him, he was more worried than ever. Bertie was hoping for a race one day, but when he saw Thomas, he did feel sorry for him. Thomas puffed slowly and slowly. "You can do it, Thomas," encouraged the driver. But it was no good. Suddenly, Thomas hissed to a halt. Just then, Dennis and Oliver arrived. "Are you all right, Thomas?" asked Dennis. "No!" cried Thomas. "I'm stuck!" Dennis took Thomas's train to the Brendam Docks, and Dennis shunted Thomas back to Knapford Station. Finally they arrived. The Fat Controller was waiting. "Well done, Dennis," he said, then turned to Thomas. "You were brave, Thomas. You weren't well, but you still tried to pull the heavy trucks. I'm sending you to the fitters yard to have the inspector to see what's wrong with you." Thomas felt a lot better. Later on, Thomas was at the fitters yard. When the engineers looked inside to see what was wrong with him, and when they found out what was wrong, they laughed and laughed. "Look, Thomas," said the workman. "Look what was inside your funnel. It was a nest with some eggs in it." Thomas felt a lot better now. "No wonder why I wasn't feeling well," he said. Then Thomas puffed away. Thomas took the bird's nest to a nearby tree. Soon they put the bird's nest on top of the tallest branch, and then Thomas puffed away. Finally, Thomas got back to Knapwood Station. Toad, Oliver and Dennis were waiting. "How are you feeling, Thomas?" asked Oliver. "I have never felt so better in my life," said Thomas. "We can tell you're feeling better," said Toad. Just then, Spencer arrived, looking fairly miserable. "What's the matter with you, Dennis?" Spencer asked Dennis. "I'm not feeling well. I've got a screw loose in my engine." Thomas, Toad, Oliver and Dennis couldn't help laughing.